Uvu and Chance, what's going on? We're back.
What's
We're
up?
talking about another one. Chance, let's just bring us into it, man. What are we
So,
talking about?
so today we're gonna run through popular series. Actually, on its way to being the most popular show Netflix has ever had. I'm pretty sure you've all heard of it. Squid Game.
What's your
What?
quick overall, good, bad, or indifferent?
Good, good. It's
Me too. I agree. It was
I
pretty good.
I really enjoyed it. I binged the whole show in one day. I honestly, like from start to finish, was entertained. Squid Game deserves every bit of hype it's received. It is an excellent show.
Sir, I will have to agree with you real quick. What you just said about it being like the best watch show on Netflix, is that legit?
It's
I
the
didn't.
most watched. Yeah, it's
What,
on its way to being the most watched show on Netflix ever.
what's amazing about that is like it's like a lot of people when it comes to like movies that aren't made or shows not made from America, it's like, oh, I don't know. But it's like there's been a few joints that's like, did you watch Dark?
Dark, no, but I've heard
Dark
of
was
it.
fire. Maybe we should watch and we'll talk about that. Dark was just about a place in Germany, I believe, and it's like this town where every 33 years, I think the same thing happens. People go missing, or people go in, the past, the present, and the future are linked. So it's like there's a lot of production, good production coming from foreign countries, and they're killing it, man. So I think it was dope in the storyline, man. So let's talk about that a little bit. The characters, you know what I
Yes,
mean? I called it that old guy. I said, oh, that old guy, man. That
I had
old guy.
a when they didn't show his death, I was suspicious.
Okay, was that the death for you? That was. See, now you already thinking right, because that's like the rule of like superhero shows or just movies in general. If I don't see you die, you could have made it, right? Like,
Right.
but on top of that, you know what as soon as remember the first game, what was it? The red light, green light?
Yes.
The first game, everybody was scared to run, but his face was excited. He was having a
Yeah.
good old time out there.
He knew
That's what
I.
told me, like, well, why are you so happy, bro? Yeah, you
Right.
dying, but nah, cause you know what I mean?
That could go two ways because I also that could be a big one. He's dying, so he's having the time of his life for the first time. Remember,
That's what I first thought.
yeah, but that would you'd have been right to think that, and you still right because at the ending he admitted that he joined the game because it was
Just to
fun for
feel
him.
something.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
wanted to feel
There's
something,
no more challenges when he's so rich, type of thing. Yeah.
right? Which is understandable, and that's another thing that drew me in about the story because these are like real life plots. Like when you are rich, life can get boring because you the one thing that a lot of us try to obtain is no longer an issue for you.
Right.
So I can understand when you could get whatever you want, how that may be boring because you don't have to work for it anymore. You've already have it. So for him, I understand why. I mean, joining the game, risking your life when you already dying. I understood. It was like it wasn't a plot to me that fell flat. It was that was a good way to put it. He wanted to feel something. So, but going piggyback on what you said in the first game, yeah, he was having a time of his life. One because he knew he was more than likely he could win because he knows what game was going to be played already. And was this his first? This is his first time actually joining the game. I missed that part.
Well, so this is my thing. When I first was watching it, thinking back, I'm like, okay, boom. He was number one, and he's the oldest person.
Mm-hmm.
So my first initial thought is, okay, you're number one, you're the oldest person. Maybe you have done this game a couple times, right? Maybe this game has been going on for a decade. You know what I'm saying? 2 decades, how long? But you've done it a series of times. That's why you're number one.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems more like, well, even at then they told us like he was part of creating this thing. So you're number one because you're part of the infrastructure. Like, so there's a bunch of like clues. The first one's the red light, green light. It's like, yeah, he was the shallow or the first answer is like, okay, boom, he's dying. You can catch that because he said it. But even deeper is he having a good time because one, he set this up. He established his world. And the reason for him being there is to have a good time. Other people, it's life or death for them.
Right.
He already got the life or death out. I'm having a good time.
Right.
But also, it's like I think someone else might have mentioned that like when you saw like the computer version, like when the camera was looking at him, there was like a glow in his area.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine it's like that guy is the creator of this thing. You have the AI know not to shoot him.
Right.
Even if he a little bit, he's not gonna get shot.
Right.
And so if he was in his general area, the people around him kind of
You've
had a
been
glow
safe.
too. So
Yeah.
it's like there was certain shit like that, and then on top of that, I just feel like to go back to what you said about just how much money they had and how they. So my thing is like this. The irony of that is like rich people, they're gonna say, "Oh, you know what? We were bored, so we started this game, this hunger style game where we're gonna let people." Yeah, well, if you're so bored and life has no challenge, why don't you give your money up? Why don't you give most of your money away and live like a regular person again? If life is so without meaning,
they're not that bored. They're not
you
that
feel
bored.
me? So you feel me? So it's like part of the conversation for me is like you said, you're not that bored. You want more power. You want more control. And so how powerful are you in a system where you made this whole infrastructure for people to fight each other? It's like you the ultimate power. And yeah, you give them, because interesting they kept saying is like in this game we're all equal, right? In the game you're all equal. You know what I mean? Like no helping nobody. I was like, that's true. I guess in like a nature versus nurture, like if everybody's chances were equal and nobody had nepotism or money or you know what I mean? If the opportunity, equal opportunity or equal, you know what I mean? And everybody just got a shot. And if you're good enough, you're good. And so that's good. That's believable.
Then you gotta talk about too, not to cut you off, but you gotta talk about too the confidence he had that the third rule, whatever it was, that if you could outvote them, then you can go home like with no harm. The confidence that they had, that majority of them people came back, also speaks to the how accustomed they were to being rich and controlling everything. That's manipulative. You knew these people you knew these people had no other choice. So you felt so confident to tell to not even tell them that eliminated meant actually dying. You felt so confident that we could not tell them, get them in the game, let them watch all the horrors that happen, and give them the right to go back home, and they still gonna come back.
That was a very good point, bro, because like you said, it's so much, it's the dynamic of power and money, because these people, look at the demographic of people they got for this game. You weren't going to be a part of this game if you didn't have a large amount of debt, if you had any other option, if you were what people say upstanding in society, like, right, these are people that are in the red. And they were of a certain age. That's what made it interesting that number one was so old, because he was the only person that old. Everybody else was in the same kind of age bracket. So like they had the similar people of a similar background in this game, because that's the type of person that would be susceptible to this.
Right.
But like you just said too, it's like they knew that they could let you go and you still would make the choice to come back. What would be interesting is to see how many people did they coerce back. So like with number 4, like the last guy, 450, 480,
456.
last guy in a row, right?
456, yeah.
Who got him to come back to the game? The old guy.
Oh man, right.
So it's like you could say, well, why did he do that? Maybe because he wanted to see if he was going to fulfill it. Maybe I
think he's seen something in him. I think honestly,
it's still manipulable.
It is. But I felt like he felt like if anybody was gonna win this whole thing, it'd be him. I think he made a personal choice and said, I think this is the one. He wasn't sure, obviously, but even to the extent of, I think he wanted him to win, because even when they were playing marbles, he gave him the option to, like, I mean, he couldn't have known who was going to be his partner, because even at first the main character, and I'm sorry I can't get their names right, but even the main character said that he said, listen, I got to find somebody else, you understand, because we don't know what game's coming up, and you're old, you're weak, and even still he came back and said, let's do this. And I think all that played into the old man's plan, like, yo, he really is the one that could win this thing. Like, he's even willing to choose me, even though I might not be as much help to him. He don't know what game's coming up. So he still came back out the kindness of his heart and picked this dude for that marble game. And then the marble game.
The irony of that is that's when they had to pick up. They chose each other and didn't know what the outcome was gonna be. So
that's every game, but for this particular game, this is the first game where your person you pick was not your teammate. This is your person that you have to beat in order to live.
Right. And so if you think about it like this, imagine the long con. The long con for the old man is, I'm a part of this system. I'm a part of this structure, but I gotta play as if I'm not. I gotta play as if I'm right. If you think about the setup for the games, it's almost like he had very good chances of winning red light, green light. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you knew that the game, not even on top of that, like I just said, maybe the computer knew not to shoot him. So it was guaranteed he was going to survive that game. Right? Then the next game was what? The cookie?
Yes.
So
I believe it was a cookie.
And again, these are things that you chose. You know the game, so it's like you had a better chance of doing that, right?
Mhm.
All this knowledge that he's keeping to himself, whatever. The third game, it gets to a point when he knows it's time for people to pair up, because you know the next game is go against the person, right?
Right.
Part of my thinking too is now I think it's like he probably didn't want to get chosen at all.
Probably not, because the one person that didn't get chosen was with a girl, and she was safe for the next game. So he
So
probably
think about
felt
it like
like,
this.
yeah,
I even think right before that, wasn't he playing like he wasn't feeling good? Like the tumor was taking
he was
effect.
peeing on himself and all that.
He was sick. So imagine that was him playing into his out. Like imagine like he was just like setting up his departure from the game in that moment. Because who the fuck would want to choose an old rinkety guy?
Right.
So he would have been the last one not chosen, and he got booted out the game, and they just said, "Oh, he died in our care or whatever."
I feel like, I think low key, he also might have wanted this guy to win because he wanted him to be the new him. He said maybe, I think he might have wanted him to be he was the chosen one in his head. Like who could do this after me? Almost like a jigsaw effect.
I feel like he could have only thought of that after he got chosen for the Marvel thing. Again, if the thought is I'm a part of this and I don't want to put myself into any real harm, going into the Marvel thing, I could lose, technically, and then the next game I could lose. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Even if he go into the Marvel, he'd have to purposely lose to be held back,
right,
so he doesn't get shot. So it's like that would have been his super last opportunity. But the perfect transition out of the game for him would have been not to be chosen before Marvel.
Right.
He couldn't have predicted that this guy that chose him to be his partner. Out of all these other people, you gonna choose me?
Yeah.
So
I think it took him a little bit off guard too. Like he kind of was like, oh wow, like this guy really is
him
different.
Choosing him that made him go, oh, this guy's a good guy. You know what I'm saying?
But then what contradicts that is when he picked him, homeboy tricked him into using his dementia against him and saying like, I think he chose even. The whole time the old man was playing dumb, like, oh, until finally he was like, so you was willing to trick me this whole time to get my last marble. And that's what made the main character start breaking down crying, because he realized, that he knew the whole time. He said he's supposed to be my gunga, which means best friend, something like that.
Yeah, right.
So it's like, I think in a way he was disappointed in him, but he still knew he had good in him, which is why he said, hey, I'm gonna give you my marble. By you giving up your marble, knowing that you're not gonna die, is even more of a push that you want him to be, you want him to make it. That's giving him an out. You know for a fact that you're the creator of this whole thing, that you're not gonna die. So you willingly gave your marble up to your partner. Right. So that means and even if you skip forward to the very end when he has that conversation with him, like, and he makes that bet, like, I bet you nobody will come save this person, like, and I don't know if he lived long enough to see that he lost that bet and then the main character still won because he believed in people, or maybe that was his whole point. Maybe he knew that he's a better version of him because you want to help people. So I think honestly the Squid Game thing gonna end off with maybe, I think the main character may end up being the new old man. I think that's Endgame.
I hope so, and it's very possible. It's either that one or what I'm gonna say, and I think they're both very likely or very possible. I think just like the conversation they had paired them against each other, like the old man's whole thing was like the world that we have is very for self. You know what I'm saying? It's very, you're right. So it's not about the community. It's about, dog eat dog. Like the other guy, redhead cat, he's more empathetic to the plight of people. He's just a more empathetic guy. You know what I'm saying? You can even see the change in his friend. Like the friend that went to college, he was supposed to be hot shit, but he ended up pushing the guy. He ended up cheating. You know what I mean? Killing the girl. Like he was doing whatever it takes because the system will push you to be. So it's almost as if the old man being so jaded by shit going on and seeing what the world is, being so like, I'm gonna die anyway, nothing matters, people don't care. Like, you jaded. Here comes this one guy that's like not as jaded. So the whole correlation of like at the very end when he's like, oh, let's make a last bet of if somebody's gonna, reach out, that warm hand in the cold, like reach out to that guy that needs help, right? And that whole scene is kind of like paralleled in the scene when he went and helped the old man in the beginning. Like he went and he could have picked anybody else or said F them, but he went out his way and lended a warm hand to this older guy Why? Because he felt for him. That's empathy. So
Right.
even back then, this old guy had in his head like, nah, people ain't shit. They're gonna do what they want to do. He proved him wrong. So
Right.
in that moment, you could have thought, you know what, the old man said, maybe there is hope for people, and that's why he gave him, even though he cheated him in the game, he realized in that moment, just you know what I mean?
Right.
I'm good regardless, but you proved to me that there might be something to this people being good.
And then he didn't mind taking that bet either. He was like, you know, because remember the old man is the one who came up with the circumstances of the bet, saying like, all right, you know, I tell you what, this guy do that, you know, what do you have to offer? He said, all in all, it was more or less like he was ready to bet everything because the money, because he didn't touch the money the whole time.
Right.
So he's still living. He's a whole billionaire and living the same way he was living last time. Didn't touch the money. Didn't let it change him. He was saying like, oh, you know what? I'll bet the money. If I'm wrong, you can take it. Ain't like I was using it anyway. So
exactly, like yeah.
What made him different from all those other people, 455 other individuals, was that he won that money and it did absolutely nothing to change who he really was at heart. And I think that was the whole point of that old man trying to force him to come back to the game, because he was a little different than everybody else. Matter of fact, he was the first person, if you remember, because they did it in reverse order when they had to do the vote, and he voted. He was the first person to vote that let's go home.
Right, he was the first person. This is what I think overall the Squid Game 2 is like saying too, like that people are corruptible, and that like that's what he kind of chose. Like he saw that this guy was good at heart, good at nature. The first time he pulled him in the game, right? He seen this guy's merit, and then he let everybody go. Why? So that he could see if these people were corruptible. You figure. Remember, it was like 400 people, right? But all 400 didn't come back.
No, it didn't.
Or the amount of right. So some people, you could consider those people that, when faced with something like that, are not corruptible enough to come back for no money. There's a certain level of people are like, well, fuck it, for the money. You know what I mean? So it's almost like a story of corruption. And his theory, right? Imagine you're a billionaire. Your theory is like people ain't shit. How would you test your theory that people ain't shit? Well, you would find a group of people, and the majority of those people would be ain't shit. Why? Because they're dependent on their debt. And you're right, their lot in life is so bad that they'll do whatever. But then you got this outlier that even though he got this debt, he's a family man, he got this daughter, he care about people. So it's like the story could also be like, yeah, the corruption. This rich old guy saw him like, is this guy corruptible? Can I bring him to my side? And to incorporate into that, let's think about this too, bro. Like, remember the police officer was looking for his brother, right? He ended up finding out that the brother was part of the game. Right,
he was the leader, the black man.
Right, he was the front man. But at this, so what do we learn from those scenes? We learned that the game has been going for a while. It's ongoing. There's been several iterations, right?
Wasn't he a winner?
That's what I was gonna say. It seems like through every iteration of the game, the winner becomes part of the system. So, like you said, maybe he wanted the redhead guy, number 400, whatever, to be a part of the system, right? But that would be, to his point, proving that everyone is corruptible. And I think like the overall arching story of this thing will be like, this guy is not gonna be corruptible. Right. You know what I mean? That for me, that'd be a better story.
To further your point, there's another key point that we even forgot to bring up. Do you remember when it was a final two actually playing this Squid Game? He was willing to outvote and say and not take the money. It was down to he already won. The dude was on the floor, already defeated on the floor, and the main character was still willing to end the game right then and there, so they both would go home without any money.
Right. But go home alive though. Right.
Alive, right. That was the main point. We both live, neither one of us get the money, despite the fact that he hated this man because he just watched her kill a defenseless girl, which, if you're fighting for your life, it was smart. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be cold, but that was a smart move on his part, because now it eliminates an actual person who will be going against him eliminating that girl. So from that standpoint, it was cold but smart, because he just eliminated his competition, and now it was only them two in the Squid Game.
Right.
So even with that being said, even with the hatred he had for him killing that girl, he still was willing to end the game right then and there, so they both could go home alive. And the old
The
man,
guy that killed the girl wasn't willing to end the game. He killed himself.
exactly, because even though no, the guy who the good guy, the main character,
Right, his man's that killed the girl.
wasn't. Yeah, he didn't want to kill the game, but he killed himself because he didn't want to go. He
He
felt
want to go home empty-handed.
right. Not only did he not want to go empty-handed, I feel like I don't feel like it's that cold. I feel like it's not to the point where I'm not, I'm gonna kill my. I think he actually wanted to help his friend, help the good guy. I think that was the last thing he did before I think killing
You
himself
think
was
he
the
killed
last.
himself to help his friend?
I think that was his last redemption for him to, I think if you really think about it, I think that was redemption for him. Like,
he's in for me, and this is why I love it. It's too. That's why we yin and yang, bro. For me, and let's talk about it real quick. I feel like his character, he killed himself because he feels unredeemable. That's why he did that. Similar to why the girl. Remember when the two girls were paired and she said, "Yo, let's go. We'll talk. Let's get to know each other. At the very end, we'll play our marble game." And the marble game was a stove. Who could throw it the furthest? And the other little girl just dropped it
on purpose, right?
She felt like she was irredeemable. So I feel like the reason why he took his own life was, and in their culture, it's like you if you feel like you shamed the family,
you're not honored. They have you on honor, yeah.
So I feel like even to that point, this brother, you supposed to be Mr. Best from your village, went to college, you stole money before you win the game. Then when you go in the game, you lie to your friend about what cookie to take. You kill a girl, you push a dude. You a savage, fam.
You right.
So all of these things in the very moment, all for money.
Yeah.
It makes maybe in that very moment, like you are so irredeemable, you can't come back. So I think that's why he was like, you know what, maybe
So you know what I say? I think we both partially right. I'll say that because your point is
both. It's both to a certain extent where it's like, listen, him by doing that action, it helped his man's. It helped the worthier person get the money and get the win.
Right.
But deep inside,
he didn't want to go home like that.
Deep inside, he's still being selfish because he's really doing it to escape. There's no coming back. You can't leave. Listen, imagine it was so crazy because you can't lose and live your life. You'd have died anyway.
Yeah, so he would have got killed anyway. So
right. So it's like the other option, you'd have got out, right? Had this money, paid down your debt, but then what? Had to live with all the deaths and the killing of your friend, and you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, part of it is, I did something for my friend, but you also did something for you. So it's that balance to everything that, yeah.
And I think that's speaks volumes to what kind of show it is. The fact that we could dig that deep and think about why these characters did what they did, because I mean, not that this could happen in real life, but these were very real life scenarios that these people were in. People were in debt. People owed debt that they can't pay. Like, I mean, most of America is in that situation where they in debt over their head.
And being indebted like that will put you in situations where you do shit like the Squid Game, shit that you would you even with the joint when homie was like, yo, I'll pay you this amount of money, just flip my thing over. I'm gonna smack the shit out you if you don't. It's like, you think if you had $1 million, you gonna let somebody smack the shit out you to flip up some cube over? No. So it's like, to be indebted, we put ourselves in certain situations where you're going to bend and break to things you wouldn't have done in the beginning. And so, real quick to go back to these characters, like it's almost like some Willy Wonka-esque type thing, because like how like Willy Wonka, he was trying to find the right person. He kind of auditioned them to take over his role, right?
Right.
So it's like you could even say that there's some of that vibe to this because he kind of chose this guy to come back. But I feel like the reason behind the why. So it's like, I do think like the why is he wants to prove his idea. So it's like, boom, when you believe something, take anything. Take how Facebook works. If you are on the left side or the right side, your advertisements and the posts you see will probably be left side or right side, right? Because you want to believe facts that help support the thing you already believe, right? Nobody wants to really hear things that go against what they believe, right? Right? If all your life you heard the color red was red, and somebody tell you, nah, that's magenta. No, whoa, slow down, fam. You want to hear things that support what you already know. That's most people. They have a problem with hearing, right? So imagine you a millionaire, billionaire. You don't have to even hear nobody's opinion, right? Going back to power, you don't have to hear nobody's thought. Your mindset is people ain't shit. They don't help nobody, right? So everything you do is going to be to support that theory, right? So even the game supports that theory to a certain extent, because it's a dog-eat-dog world. the main character with the red now is the one figure that breaks that cycle, because even the brother who won his round did what? Became a cog in a machine. And started working for. So the red guy, I hope in season 2 or whatever, season 3, I hope he ends up being the one person that was I'm unbreakable. You cannot poison. You get what I'm saying? That would be even stronger. It's like, yo, I cannot be poisoned and succumb to the grime, you know what I mean, and the dirt, the filth that is this system. And I hope that stuff the further arc, like, because it'd be easy to just fall to right and just take over the place of the old guy, but it'd be even deeper for him to be like, nah, listen, man. You met the wrong one. I'm the one, because even at the very end of the series, bro, what happened? Didn't the guy Nicole get help?
Right, he did.
So that proves the old man was wrong.
And he said that. He actually said, "You see, I want you to know that you were wrong. I won again."
And I think he's so my predictions for the next. I think he's going to stay on that platform of proving him and that system is wrong. But also remember, the brother's not dead, so the brother has seen the interworkings of it. They could link up and try to take this thing down. That's what I think.
And I think the best way for him to take him down is by re-entering the game. So it's kind of like a what's the Hunger Games type thing? How
it's so hot box though. Wouldn't it be so hot for him? They know you got the money. They know who you are. Wouldn't it be so hot to join the game again? Or maybe they want you to join the game again. Who knows?
First of all, he's already a billionaire, so if he gets in this game again and wins again, he'll have enough money to shut the whole system down.
I feel like what he got to do is he got to like get somebody else to get picked up and follow them in or something. Like he got to, you know what I mean? He got to.
The problem is though, in order to win the game, everybody has to die except you. So it's like it's gonna be an interesting take for season 2 if that's the way they go, because now
his thing ain't okay. So imagine his thing ain't even to play the game, just to break. His thing is to destroy the system. So imagine like the next shit is like, okay, you follow him, you follow a new group of people in the game, right? And the games get played out how we watch the games get played out. But the other side of it is, remember the cops, the people that run the game, like all that B-roll stuff and selling body parts and all that. Maybe he gets enough people with the cop guy to infiltrate that side, and they start climbing and breaking through the corporate ladder of it. The game is still going, but maybe they start getting to the front man. And
so behind the scenes, he's taking them down without actually entering the game.
Right. So we can still see the game, and maybe the games will change because the old man is the one that made the games, right? He's dead, so maybe somebody else will come up with different games. They want to see different shit.
They'll be rough for him to enter the game because, like I said, morally speaking, in order for there to be a winner, you have to go through everything you went through again, which is something that actually drew me in with the show. Nobody was safe. They didn't cut no corners. They said one person has to live. So even though we got to know these characters for a whole season, nobody was safe, and it all ended
right. That's what was good. I agree.
I love that they did that.
There were stakes. There were definitely
stakes. That's the key.
I'm gonna be honest, bro. I was like 90% sure the first and last guy was gonna stay. I was pretty sure at the last episode would be the old guy and the, you know what I mean? Just story shit.
A lot of times, what people do with story though is make some kind of like give them plot armor, and it'd have been down to like even though one person won, the other person still was spared. They're very they do that a lot. They don't like to give, but they didn't. This show didn't cut any corners. They didn't do what we was talking about previously, as far as like saving for another season, or like just building a show for its future seasons, as opposed to spending time and perfecting this first season. This is a prime example of a show that spent more time perfecting its season, as opposed to just setting up for a sequel. This show definitely took out its character. They was emotional. You got to know them. You on a personal level, you got to know their families. Because when the Pakistani guy got killed, I felt really bad. I was like, yo, he really let this man trick him, and he was gonna win. And the Pakistani, he was gonna win the game, but he stopped because he trusted this man. And once the moment he realized that the dude turned on him, I was like, wow, that hit me. I was like, that's deep.
Like you said, because that's human. You felt the human connection, the human emotion in there.
Yes.
You know what was so real about this thing? You ever seen the movie The Divide?
The Divide.
You ever heard of that? I think I might have told you to watch that one time. The Divide is basically about I think it ends up being like the Japanese, somebody drops a bomb on New York, like Manhattan, And so like this one building of people, like let's say like 10 people end up going down to like the bottom of the basement and living in the basement. Like, you know what I mean? Let's say that like the superintendent, he had like a whole shelter laid out and like 9 other people storming shit. But what happens is like, let's say in the course of a year, they live maybe a year, but the course of like months, they live under this basement, and you just see the degradation of people. Like they just start to degrade. Like, and so it's crazy because in extreme situations, there's no rule, or not no rule. There are no rules. It's like lawless, but there's no room for like to be a human. Like you're not worried about everybody's needs, or am I caring about because I self-preservation, right? That's the number one law of nature, like self-preservation. So it's like when it's so extreme like that, that's why you'll see people that would never dare in like a regular world sort of be structure and right order. You would have never pushed nobody off no platform. You never slit their throat like that. You would never. So it's just like another example of like when we as humans we find ourselves in extreme situations. You know what I mean? Extreme situations will push people to do things like you know what I mean? Like yeah, when pushed enough, you'll get those explosions of situations where people wouldn't have usually did that. Use force, right? Use and then boom. So I think overall Squid it's got shown a lot, showing us right the balance of money, power, the struggle of power.
I think what I love the most, and I told you it had like 2 to 3 things that I told you I'd love to see. I mentioned it in previous videos. It's sort of like a tournament type thing, you know, winner takes all. Remember I mentioned I love tournament type movies and shows.
Yes, you have
yeah. It also was it's something that made you. I love things that make me feel like, damn, what would I do in a situation? Stuff that puts me in the show. Whatever you're trying to portray, it puts me in them shoes. That's why I like Jigsaw so much, because I thought about it like, yo, could I really do that? So anything that makes me picture what I would do and in those intense scenarios, I love that, because you're doing is more than just a show. It's really making you think about yourself and who you really are. Yeah. Right. And anything that can make you think about have self-reflection is and that's what they were going for, which honestly you could tell that was the end goal.
Right.
And I think that was genius. That was perfect. And I look forward to season 2. I do. Whatever direction they're going.
As do I.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that.
Season 2 is definitely coming. We'll see what Redhead Magoo Billionaire Face does with it. Looking forward to it.
What was it with the red hair?
I don't. The only thing I correlated it to was the guards, right? Like maybe he was saying, "Okay, I'm taking the power back." Like in that situation, the powerful people to him were the guards, right? And they were red.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that was like a symbolic of him being the powerful one now.
You know what? You might be right, because do you remember when he played that game trying to flip the paper with the dude in the suit when he first found out about the game? What color were the papers?
Right. So
exactly.
I think this was a type of joint. This was definitely a type of show and a series that, like you said, it had enough commentary about power struggles and money and people where you could think about it and correlate it to life. But then also things like the color, you know what I mean? The color played a role in telling a story, a certain type of vibe. You know what I'm saying? Like the visualizations, like they had the games in the background of it was crazy because if you pay attention, like
the games were already on the wall. Yeah.
Right. The barracks were on the wall, but you know what I mean? It's almost like it's almost like a metaphor for your mind. Like they'd be like the information, but you can't access it and you can't see it because it's so much clutter, right? So all the barracks was on the wall, you couldn't see it. They was in chaos, they wasn't paying attention. But if they was really paying attention, looked around through the chaos, through the barracks, they would have seen what the games were well in advance. And like that's another metaphor for life too. It's like there's so much going on around us, it will block us. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like fog.
You can't see the clear picture.
You gotta kind of peel back that layer of chaos to really pay attention and dial in. So it's like overall, like you said, man, top to bottom, we giving it a Guru and Chantz 2 thumbs up.
Most certainly.
You know what I'm saying?
Certainly. We haven't done our GNC review number scale thingy.
We haven't, man. I want to revamp that. I want to make it 1 to 5.
We apologize for being so inconsistent, guys.
But listen, bear with us. We having fun. We giving you our takes. And we bring, reality to it. We ain't just
Absolutely.
down them.
All right, so boom. What's G's 1 through 5 review? What you got? What's
For that, I'm gonna give it a 4. Big 4 for me.
I think I'm gonna say 4.5.
4.5.
I'm gonna
That's
say
good. I'm up there with it. I just want to see,
I'm
I
gonna
want to
say
see
four
what
and
they
a
do with the
half.
name, but good. It's a high numbers, yeah. Like so, by
It
95
is.
for you. I'm 90, 95
Yeah.
for you.
Only because,
Out
like I
there.
said, remember I'm I had that whole thing with tournaments and stuff. So you added that in there, and
There
you
can only
gave
be one.
it was the emotional plot. 4.5.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
I'm always taking
Well,
away. I'm taking away. It can't get a perfect 5 because, well, one, no movies or show is really perfect. However, they had some things in there
right.
that made me like one scene where they when the guy beat the other guy to death, the gang member beat him to death, and then he was trying to say like, anybody gonna do nothing about this? And that's when he first realized that they really don't care.
Yes.
Yeah. So I just the way they portrayed that, I get what they were trying to say, but that beating he gave him wasn't a death defying beating. That was, he kicked him a couple of times in the stomach, and it killed him. They could have,
Oh, I feel you. I feel you on some like what? Yeah, I feel you. I feel you.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel you.
not to be a stickler, but
Not being, yeah, no, I feel you though. I feel you. It could have been, yeah, shit like that. But overall,
yeah,
the story they had was, yeah, I'm up there 95 type shit. I was
yeah.
thinking in my head too, as we, said, no perfect story. If I was to give something like a perfect story recently, and it only had one, I'm gonna tell you, man, Lovecraft, man.
Country.
That joint was perfect, son. Everything about that was original, perfect. So go watch it if you haven't. I just want to say that before we segue. But let's talk about, man, because it's dropping tomorrow. If we get this out tonight, it is dropping tomorrow. But if not, September 31st. Yeah.
There's the 31st of September?
Yeah. They're gonna do it in September, April, June, and November. Yeah. No, it's 30 days. It's 30 days.
I'm like, it ain't no 31 days in September.
Well, I had to do the song, man.
All right, my bad.
30 days to September, April, June. So if this drops Friday, boom. If not, Venom 2 is dropping. Yeah, October 1st. Let's get it. What do you think, man? What do you think this movie's gonna be about? Talk to me.
Well, I'm going to see it in a few hours. So yeah, I'll have a better insight. That will be the review. But what I think is going to be.
What do you think is going to happen?
They're gonna delve more into the connection between Eddie and Venom. They're gonna
like the relationship, yeah.
Yes, because that was one of the strong points from part 1. They
like the Hulk banner type of synergy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I enjoy that. And it kind of, that's what the comics was going for as well. So I kind of like that. I like that idea. And Tom Hardy's doing a great job as being Eddie and Venom, because he's the voice of Venom as well. So yeah, they're gonna explore more into that. Carnage is gonna Carnage. Woody Harrelson as Carnage, maybe not my first choice, but don't get me wrong, I love Woody Harrelson. I do. He's a great actor, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna do fine in the role. But he's just not the first person I think of when I think of Carnage. But I think they're gonna play off each other well. Two great actors in the role. As far, what do I think the story's gonna be about?
Too.
I ain't gonna lie, I have no idea what the story's gonna be about. I don't. I just have a feeling it's gonna connect in some kind of way, because let me tell you something. I was scrolling last night on my phone, looking at YouTube videos, supporting people. So just looking at videos, and came across something that I was not trying to, and somebody, and the video was banned in the US, but somebody recorded the after credit scenes on Venom and Carnage. I mean, so I, being nosy Nelly, had to watch the video, and
wait now, before you hold on, let's slow down. Before you say this, give the people your patented spoiler alert, sir, because this might drop too fresh. So,
spoiler alert, big spoiler alert, huge, monumental. If you do not want to know, turn this off now. It's been a pleasure talking to you. We see you next video.
Yes. Now,
If
before you do, and I appreciate you giving them that because listen, you know, people are sticklers for that. I don't give a hoot. But
yeah, he doesn't.
I want to
care.
before you say this, because I do think. Remember, actually, what 3 things you think is happening in the movie? The third thing I think is going to happen has to do with a certain symbol on a certain character. Is that have to do with what you saw?
A symbol on a character.
Yes.
Oh, okay, no, but it
Okay,
could.
good. So you what?
I get what you're going at, and it might even correlate in a way, but
Okay, I think that's going to happen. If you know what I'm saying, I think somewhere in this movie, maybe end credit scene, mid credit scene, he's going to see that. You know, okay, he's going to see Spider-Man, and he's going to go, "Oh, I like that." You know what I mean? Because that's the thing we're missing. That's the thing we're missing.
We are missing the spider symbol.
Now, what should we say first? Should I say what I'm saying, or should you break it down? We already said the spoiler, so please, go ahead.
Okay. So,
You see, sir.
of course, I didn't see the movie yet. So, after the credits, I see some characters I do not know because I didn't see the movie yet, and they're speaking, and the scene cuts to Eddie Brock being in some hotel room. It looks maybe like it could be Mexico somewhere. And he's just laying in the bed, just kind of talking to Venom in his head. You can't see Venom. He's just, in his head talking. And you could hear the 2 voices going back and forth. And it's also maybe in Spanish or a different language. I didn't understand the language. So I don't know what they were saying. But they're talking. I know that much. And something happens. The room starts shaking. And you see these bright lights that shine. And then the setting of where he is changes. Then the TV turns on, and then Venom comes out. Eddie Brock now turns into Venom as the TV comes on. And on the TV is Tom Holland in his Spider-Man suit. And Venom goes towards the TV and licks the television. And, which is, I think it's given us leadway into knowing that the multiverse has affected Venom's universe as well. Venom will be in now the same universe as Tom Holland.
Right. So boom. That don't even hurt me now. I definitely feel like that's what's because how else do I get my so for me it's like the one thing we missing on Venom, right? Is the Spider-Man. Your man definitely took that. He swagger jacked it on Spider-Man and he don't have it yet. So it's like imagine after that scene, he's like, oh, I want to eat that guy. And he just morphs, he just takes it over. Like, I like that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it just cuts out, because that's what's missing.
Yeah.
I can see that, man, and be honest, I would be happy with it. I think to add on to what you're saying, they're gonna keep on with the back and forth and the relationship of them working together. Because there's something about Carnage, the relationship between I'm gonna forget his name now. Oh, Cassidy.
Cassidy's Clay.
Right. There's a connection or the tether between Clay and Carnage is different than Venom and Eddie Brock.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so I think like you just said, the relationship between them, explore that and kind of dive into that. But also, you see how Shriek is in it, right?
Yeah, Shriek is in it.
Carnage's boot thing, right? So it's like, and I don't know where they're gonna go with the story either, but I know that it might lead to Maximum Carnage, right? Which would be the story when, Venom and Spider-Man team up. So to your testament, like you just said, they might have a credit scene where he's like, oh, I see him on the TV. Maybe the next time they meet up is like, yo, we gotta take down Carnage. Maybe this movie he don't get rid of Carnage.
I do truly hope that Carnage is not a one and done villain. Let's start there. That Carnage
can't be, but
he's way too big of a villain to just be a one shot deal. We've been waiting to see Carnage in live action for years. This is a big deal. You know what I mean?
What if Woody Harrelson did badly?
Well, lucky for us, it's a multiverse. Maybe that's not the Carnage we'll see.
Right.
You can do whatever you want with a multiverse. That's the whole. That's what the excitement is. That's what the mystery is. They could do whatever they want to, and the excuse will always be it's a multiverse. Remember, Venom is no longer in his universe now. I believe
Jim Carrey would have been a good Carnage.
Jim Carrey could have did, yeah.
A little older now, but he's just wacky enough.
But Woody Harrelson and the time Jim Carrey is almost the same age, it seemed like.
So there you go. It's just I in my mind like that's somebody that's almost like Joker insane. Like this is not Joker insane. He don't wear paint shit, but this is somebody out their mind.
Rest his soul. what's the name could have been Carnage? If he was still alive. Joker.
Heath Ledger.
Yes, I think he could
Yeah,
have
he
done
definitely
Carnage.
could have did that.
I think he could have.
But I think overall, man, these people put a lot of money into it. They screened a lot of actors. I think it's going to be dope. And the overall arching story is like, let's not forget that Spider-Man is coming, and that's going to be a banger.
And
That's
you already
gonna be
know.
a Diddy Bob.
You already know that the universes are colliding already. So now, boom. Now, what if in the movie they was holding out on certain scenes? What if Venom is now in Spider-Man movie, and he's gonna help him take down all these other villains that he has to fight? We not gonna get
Or it
Andrew
ends with him.
Garfield.
Imagine at the end, okay, because right, so it's like, okay, you know, you got WandaVision in the background, all this stuff, trying to go through the multiverse, right? Trying to find a way to find a kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
Either that is going to be the cause of the multiverse of madness, or she's going to help the multiverse of madness, right? Either Strange is going to be, hey, I need your help, or he's going to be, hey, you got to stop what you're doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the two. So it's like, okay, he over here. He told Wong he wasn't going to do it. It was super dangerous, but you help a Spider-Man do some type of swing. Why? Does it help you in some way?
That doesn't seem very.
Again, we know Wanda might be over here doing something. Maybe he knew he had to open up or break into a certain type of energy or a certain type of multiverse to do something he wanted to do anyway. And at the end of this movie, like, listen, man, there was a bigger threat. I was just trying to, you know what I mean? I was trying to take a pig for a horse or something. You know what I mean? I was trying to make a double. You know what I mean?
Right. So I mean, yeah, I think either way, I'm excited because, like I said, we may not get Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire. I mean, I know some people hanging on to the idea they might be in it. I'm being a realist. I want to be.
You already know what I want.
I know what you want. I know what you want.
Hold nobody hostage for it.
I know you want Tobey Maguire to be the uncle for. Yes, that would be cool. That would be cool if he was Tom Holland's uncle.
Make it happen.
That would be dope. However, if we don't get that, I'm okay with Venom and Tom Hardy's Venom and Tom Holland's Spider-Man finally connected.
Let me ask you this, sir. Okay. Who could shock Peter Parker and Aunt May walking through their door?
Uncle Ben. You gotta be like,
don't let me get a super spin on. Yo, and it be, I'm just saying, it'd be fire for that to be the moment that Uncle Ben walked in and he's like, Uncle Ben would be like, nah, my name's Peter.
So
I live.
So you prefer that over Venom and Spider-Man a team up?
Okay. So I'm just going, you know, Occam's razor. I'm going with what makes sense to me. You telling me that you got these guys, the villains from other properties coming. Why don't you have the Spider-Man from other properties? I know that I can have multiverses and other versions of characters because of Kang and because of Loki, right? So we can have infinite Kangs and infinite Lokis. Okay, well, with that type of thinking, I got infinite Peter Parkers. They might not all look like Peter Parker. You know what I mean? But they all might live in the same. So it's like, imagine like another version of Peter Parker gets thrown in this universe and he just goes back to his apartment. His apartment just so happened to be the same apartment they in. And they're like, Uncle Ben? And he's like, Uncle Ben, I'm Peter. I came home. I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
Right.
Because their Uncle Ben would be him.
Right.
He's Peter Parker. Right. That's what would be dope to me. But who's exactly?
So, I mean, here's what I like about the connection. They, if you notice in this, we don't really know the plot of Spider-Man. We know not
really. We just know that they put a lot of puzzles pieces together.
Right. We know that there's gonna be the villains we're familiar with, and we know that he's been outed as Spider-Man, and
and we know that in the beginning he doesn't want to be. He doesn't want to. He wants people to kind of forget that.
Right. So, with that being said, without no real plot details, and the fact that they hid the fact that Venom would be in Spider-Man this entire time, they're hiding something. There's something that is gonna shock us about what's gonna happen in the Spider-Man movie. I will say that. Will it be Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield? I don't know. I would love to see it. I would love to see Guru's idea. That would be dope as well. But Marvel has become pretty good at like hiding certain things. Like I said, we don't know the plot. All we know is Venom came out about 2 months before Spider-Man movies due to come out, with the end credit scene being him looking at Tom Holland on the screen. So that already gave the way that connection that Venom will be a part in some kind of way. So we don't know what the plot details could be. We don't know
Well,
how
like you
far.
said, if we're gonna go, let's start with what we do know. We know that people know who he is now.
Yes.
He's trying to do away with that, reverse that. We know he goes to Doctor Strange to get the help. He knows it goes awry. We know we got villains from other properties, other versions of Spider-Man, right? So how would they get there? Through the multiverse. So we know we're dealing with multiversal elements.
We also know that the multiverse is not going to be fixed in Spider-Man's movie.
Right. It's probably going to be broken. Right. It's going to be because multiverse is mad. Right. If anything, we can see like, who's to say, bro? Because we still got Wanda over here. What if Wanda, by doing what she's doing over here, and Doctor Strange trying to do this thing over here, that's what cracked it, or what made it worse? Think of it like this: she's doing what she's doing. She got the dark hole. She's got that dark hole, bro. She's doing whatever she want to do. He's like, damn, I got to figure out something to try to stop. All right, I'm gonna use this kid, do what he want, but really try to do what I want. And maybe Doctor Strange was trying to do some extra stuff and messed it up too. So now he's like, listen, we fixed this problem, Spidey, but I had some hustle going on, and I made it worse doing what I wanted to do with you. You know what I mean?
Also,
and so now we got the multiverse of madness.
Also, too, we have to point out about what if. What if is canon to the story? So I don't know if you know the last
not to
episode.
This universe, but yeah.
Yeah, no, you're not to this universe, but it all plays.
They can access many of universes, universe.
Yeah, but mind you, in this previous episode, Watcher has now been identified. Like you're able to be seen now, and you're not supposed to intervene, but he says it's now time to intervene. So now the Watcher, who was watching all these universes and couldn't intervene, well, I mean, live action are universes too. So who's to say maybe in future movies the Watcher won't be connected in some kind of way? Maybe he'll portray himself in a live action version. You know, maybe that would be fire. You know, because now we had a chance to see what Watcher's capable of. He's very capable. He's very strong. He went toe to toe with.
It's God level power.
Right. And
so was Ultron.
Right.
You saw him eat the galaxy like Galactus.
Bro, what got me was when Thanos made his little entrance and he killed them in seconds, split him in half.
It's like, why we ain't thinking that? Yo, why Iron Man ain't thinking that?
The Mad Titan just come in, mad as joint. They beat everybody and he killed them in seconds. So this is Ultron's true power. If he would have, if he would have got Vision's body, this is what it would have been.
The only issue is the gems are not supposed to work in other universes. It's supposed to only work in the universe that they originated in. So it's like, how do you reconcile that he was able to go to different universes and use? You know what I mean, I don't really care. Like, it's still a cool story, but it's like,
but no, that's good.
Maybe you could say because what if it's just like there are many universes? Maybe there is one universe where one set of stones works everywhere. Maybe. You know what I'm saying? I'm not stuck on it, but
they can do what they want because it's a multiverse of madness. So I mean,
listen, I'm
like
not
I said, they can do what they want.
They just told you in Loki that these shits don't work because they're not in the universe they're in.
Right.
And then they go, but again, I'm not stuck on it. I ain't mad at it. Overall, I think it's going well. I'm gonna try to watch that movie ASAP. I don't know if I'm gonna watch it 3D IMAX like my man Chantz gonna do. But I'm gonna watch it as fast as I can. Yeah. And listen, Spider-Man. I'm looking forward to Spider-Man. That's all I can say.
That's definitely gonna.
You said they only gave him 7 out of 10 for this movie. I'm really looking forward to Spider-Man.
On IGN, yeah, they gave him 7 out of 10. What they said was that they enjoyed the exciting new direction. That they said that, you know what it is. They said they played it safe. They didn't kind of branch out like Shang-Chi did, and like Eternals was going to. So they said they played it pretty close to the chest. However,
what's branching out? Different cultures? What's branching out about Shang-Chi?
I'm not too sure what they meant. I think as far as like well, they didn't just mention Shang-Chi. They mentioned a couple other examples as well. But I guess in a sense of like, the villain just not being like a one-off. I mean, because it's Carnage.
Right. He was very flat. But one-dimensional.
Yes. So, Carnage is essentially just a serial killer who loves carnage. That's, you know what I mean? There's no real, you can't really put plot armor on Carnage because Carnage just wants Carnage. You know what I mean? That's just.
I mean, I bet you he don't die in this movie.
He shouldn't.
Yeah, because there's no way. How do you get to Venom and Spider-Man versus him if he dies? You don't.
Carnage isn't a one-off villain anyway. Carnage in the comics should. Now I don't know if it's a much respect to Thanos, but he's pretty respected.
He ain't like he's respected, but he ain't Thanos.
He's not Thanos. No, he's not Thanos. He's not Thanos.
But the what's those shits called? Not even those two in particular, just the symbiotes. The symbiotes. Those things themselves, though, are gangster. There's a lot of people, a lot of versions of symbiotes. Like,
yeah.
So, listen, man, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. Last statements. Bring us home, man. Chance, bring us home.
Well, I'm just excited to see what they're going to do. This is an exciting time for Marvel and Marvel fans alike. These are things you only dream of seeing on TV as a kid. So these are exciting times for me. I feel like a kid again, honestly.
Bro, imagine when movies. I was gonna say, imagine when movies, because they got the AR and the spatial reality. You put on the shit when you go to move there. You put on the joint. And you go fly around with Iron Man.
That's like VR though. That's like virtual reality. I actually thought about buying one. I'm not gonna lie to you. I just
Oculus?
Yeah, Oculus Quest 2. I think I thought about it's a little hefty in price, but I thought about getting it because I've watched, I've seen a couple of TikToks, a couple of videos of people using it, and it's like pretty cool. Like
it looks fun, yeah.
It does look fun.
Looks like a jolly good time.
Yeah, like to literally like if you get a zombie game and you literally like they're up on you and you trying to that seems cool to me. I get excited thinking about stuff like that. So I think I'm gonna pick one up. Maybe do a review on it. Who knows? So
do that. You heard it here first. You might see some Oculus reviews. We're gonna get into VR, spatial, all that. You know what I mean? We're working on a lot, man. But keep posted with us. Appreciate everybody that's tapping in. That's it, man.
Like, subscribe, comment, tell us how you feel. Peace.